Yes, sir. So basically, yeah, I was just saying that the first time we actually met was Camden Palace. So I call it Camden Palace, Coco's.
Yeah.
Showing my age now. So it was Coco's at the networking event. And yeah, last time I met you, it was literally just music you were doing. So you're an artist, and you're a producer, and you had your spot in Hackney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot has happened since then. So I'll take you through like the timeline of like my musical journey, right? So I started playing the cello when I was 8.
Man said cello.
Yeah.
The cello. You still playing now?
Not as much. I mean, I haven't played in years, but if I wanted to get back into it, I think it'd take me like a few months. But I do use it quite a bit. Or I did when I was producing a lot of music.
Okay.
Because I do love that sound.
Yeah.
And then when I was 13, I started teaching myself how to play the guitar.
Okay.
When I was 15, I started teaching myself how to play keys, right? And then writing songs as well.
Everything is a self-taught.
Yeah, mostly. Come on. You already know. And then when I was 17, I started producing music.
Okay.
So that was cool. Literally locked myself up in my flat, and I'll be producing music for like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Like,
What were you using back then? Software?
Then I was using Logic, so I was taught that a bit in school. But then you have to actually take your own initiative in order to learn things in depth once you leave school. So boom, got really into that, and then I was producing for a couple of years, and I was like, okay, do you know what? I think I'm decent at producing. I want to go to the next level. I want to make sure my production sound clean and crisp.
Yes.
So I started like engineering professionally. I had a mentor for that one.
Okay.
This guy from the Basque County. His name was Asia. He was just at one of my gigs, and we just connected. He'd been engineering for like 30 years. He taught people at universities and colleges in the States how to engineer, and he even worked at Electric Lady Studios, which was Jimi Hendrix's studio. So he was a like serious engineer.
So you use like all of the outboard gear. You used to mix on that.
So we were using a lot of outboard gear. He taught me how to mix in a box as well. So that was really cool. And then when I was 21, I started managing a music venue. So that was like a bit more live stuff.
What venue?
That was called. You
don't want to shout it out. you don't want to give them any props.
Do you know what?
What area was it in?
It was around Hackney as well. I'll say that. Yeah.
Cool. Let's just keep it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
21
started managing live music venues, and 23 started managing music studios. And when I was 25, that's when I actually got more into the AI kind of tech sort of field. But it's crazy how that happened. So I was running a music and content studio, right? Also in Hackney. And
so when you say content, music and content studio, what people were just coming to record stuff?
So people were coming to record music and content, musical content, some other kind of content as well, like podcasts. So I'd just let it out, and people would rent it for that kind of stuff. And then obviously ChatGPT came on the market, 30th of November, a few years ago, and that just changed everything. Like,
did you start messing with it straight away though? As soon as it came out?
Less than 24 hours after it came out, I was using it. Big ups to my older brother. Yeah. I remember I was at his spot in Manchester, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you might like this. This is he said this is like groundbreaking. Like, you should check this out." I was like, "All right, cool." And then boom, I started typing. Oh man, I'll never forget. I started typing stuff in there, and obviously my first prompts were about producing music. Obviously. So I'm like, all right, what does this know? This looks like glorified Google, innit? Boom, and then it gives me all these answers, like exactly like how I would say it. Do you know what I mean? It was so to the T, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Let me ask it questions about playing guitar. Okay, let me ask it questions about playing keys. Okay, let me ask it questions, high-level questions about sound engineering. You know what I mean? Like, things like the proximity effect, how like when you're closer to a microphone, it captures more lower frequencies, and the further away you go, it captures less lower frequencies. So that's like basically a parameter you can play with as a vocalist or rapper. Boom, it knows this stuff to the T. And I'm like, yo, this is wild. Bro, I did not sleep that night. The first night I discovered it,
so
I did not sleep.
Props.
Whole night.
Seriously?
The whole night. And yeah, man, to be honest, I feel like I just fell down a rabbit hole, and it's been years since then, and I'm still in this rabbit hole. But thankfully, I'm grateful to be in a position where, I can make part of my living off educating, corporate executives about a creative approach to these large language models.
That's what I was going to ask you. So how did you make the transition from literally just making music and content to then start almost getting into the corporate world? Start messing with that?
Do you know what was so interesting? So I was basically using ChatGPT, Claude, all these LLMs to streamline my workflow.
LMMs.
Okay. So LLMs. I feel like I'm in another corporate workshop. I love it. This is what I live for. So large language model. Large because it's trained on a lot of data. It's trained on a lot of information before it gets to your hands.
Okay.
Language because you're interacting with it using text. Right? There's been AI for years, but this is the first time we've had AI that you can just talk to using like regular human language.
Okay.
And I don't even type my prompts, I speak them. So I have a hotkey. I press that, it records my voice and it immediately transcribes it, because you're meant to speak to it like a human being. So I find that when I actually speak to it as opposed to typing, I actually naturally I'm going to give it a better prompt because I'm talking, not just typing.
See, now I heard with ChatGPT, again, once you put information in it, it kind of stores it, so it kind of remembers it for next time. So almost every time you interact with it, it gets smarter and smarter and learns more about you as well.
Do you know what? That is so true. And today I wrote a prompt that I'm going to share with you in a bit. I just want to say the M part is for model, because all the outputs it gives you.
Large language model.
Exactly. Okay. Large, it's trained on a lot of information. Language, we're using text. And model, because it's basically based, without getting too techie, it's based on maths. And it's basically deciding its output based on probabilities of what you probably want based on the input of what you've given it.
Okay.
Really and truly, what you have to know that it bases its output based on maths, right? And that maths is calculated based on your input, hence the importance of a prompt. Now, we're using my phone to record this. I entered a prompt today, right? And it was based on every prompt I've given you. What's one thing about myself tell me one thing about myself that I may not know.
So hold on. See, this is the thing where it gets a little bit scary, a little bit Terminator-ish.
Gets very scary.
So all the time you've been using it, obviously it's almost building a profile on you and knowing what type of things you talk about, and it almost, again, especially if you're using language. But when you're using language, do you literally dictate directly into ChatGPT or one of those, or do you dictate into something else and then it goes into ChatGPT?
No, I dictate directly into ChatGPT. So
now, can ChatGPT pick up on like your syllables and things like that?
The tone of my voice
and things like that.
Do you know what? That's an interesting question, because there are two ways you can dictate to it.
Yeah.
So there's a voice version where like you go on the app on your phone, right? I know this is only available on your phone, and you basically click one of the voice buttons, and then it basically turns into a circle that starts talking to you, and then you can basically just have a conversation with it, which is a bit mad. And then the other way, which is how I use it on my laptop, is I've downloaded an application called Whisperflow, WISPRFLOW, all completely free. I think it's only available on Mac, but you can find some Windows versions. And what I've done is I've very quickly set up a hotkey. So whenever
as you press it, it activates the whisper key, which then talks to ChatGPT.
What it does is, once I hold, for me it's the function button on the bottom left of my MacBook, I hold that down, and then I speak into it, and it basically records what I say, and it just prints it out as text in any. And the thing is, it doesn't do that just for ChatGPT. It does that everywhere.
Well, you can do that with a Mac anyway, can't you? Just
the dictation?
Yeah,
but this one is actually way more accurate.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's really, really accurate. And it's also great for formatting. So if I'm putting something in a list, right, it's actually going to format it.
Whisper.
Yeah, it's going to format it really well. And what it does, I believe it actually takes a picture of the page and it tries to copy the formatting of what you've done. So let's say, for example, you typed out a list in a specific sort of formatting, right?
Okay.
If you then hold the hotkey and then continue the list, it will maintain the formatting, because it's seen the form. It won't just be in like a long paragraph. It will actually stick to the same list formatting, the specific one that you've already done, which is wild. You know what I mean?
Very. I'm not gonna lie to you. Very.
So I mean, a bit more about the transition. I just started posting, the discoveries that I made.
Using AI and with music?
Yeah, with well, I mean, first of all with music, and then just with other things like my entire life. Like people ask me, what do you use AI for? But if they want a shorter answer, it should be if they want a shorter answer, they should ask me, what don't you use AI for? Because I use it for a lot of things. I use it to start pretty much everything. Because it's amazing for brainstorming. So boom, now I'm using all of this. I'm using all of these AIs and posting on my LinkedIn and professional pages and even Instagram, like how this is how I'm actually using it for music. Oh, okay, I found out I could use it for other stuff. I could use it for this, I could use it for that, for my emails, all this kind of stuff. And then boom, next thing I know, I've got some emails from, a couple companies saying, hey,
No way.
you really know your stuff. They're contacting me via LinkedIn. They're like, hey, can we sit down and have a meeting? We've got a proposal for you. And I'm just like,
way.
yeah.
Ching ching. Thank you, ChatGPT and AI. Oh wow.
And it's wild because I was writing articles, obviously partly AI generated, about AI, using AI. And next thing I know, my DMs are flooded with like some companies that want to pay me to educate their executives. So at this point, I've
So this was all utilizing LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like companies who want me to facilitate workshops for like Meta, Amazon, Siemens. I've taught their executives, and it's so fascinating because I didn't even think I'd get to this level. I've taught companies that are on the New York Stock Exchange. Some of them I can't say I'm still working with. Wow. You know what I mean? NDAs and that, but yeah, it's spiraling out of control.
So just about the capabilities of AI, or
how they can use it in their daily lives, because the key thing is application.
100%.
Like, it's a massive buzzword now, and there are loads of tools out there, but it's like, how can I use this tool to save me more money, energy, attention, and time? Because those are the only 4 things you can control, right? So I want to preserve those resources.
100.
You know what I mean?
So quick fire round for someone like me. If you were to, how could I use it? Because I'm using AI now, but I'll only use it for if I can't be bothered to write an email or something like that. So I'll go and ChatGPT, write an email about this, and put it in. That's the only what I only use it for. My whole thing, maybe I'm a dinosaur in this thing, but I don't like new stuff. If pen and paper work, I'm using pen and paper. But I know if you don't utilize technology, you get left behind. So I started using it a little bit more, but I don't know the depths of what it really can do. Because I know some people are really utilizing this thing, like you said, on a daily, and they're saving time. They're making money, and just literally just helping their workflow with anything they do.
1,000%. Like, now there are businesses out there that are just chat GPT in a spreadsheet and they're making bread. So it's like, it's so powerful. I think the main thing people need to understand is how to prompt. I hear a lot of people say it gives me general answers. And I'm gonna start making content about how to prompt, because everyone thinks, or a lot of people think they know how to prompt, but they really don't. Like, one of the first things I teach my clients is how are you prompting? Because like in life, the situations you end up in are a testament to how effective the questions you ask. The efficacy of the questions you're asking. You know what I mean? Because when you ask certain people certain questions, that gives them certain ideas, and those ideas may lead to opportunities for you, and that's how it happens. Asking a lot of questions to my LinkedIn network led to a lot of opportunities as well for me. And that's how you get to change a particular, let's say, a cycle that's in place or has been since before you were born. It's about which questions you ask and how you prompt things.
So how I want to know how you prompt without. How do you prompt?
So,
and I don't know if you have to get my wallet out for this one. I know time is money.
Nah, come on, nah, come on.
You're charging big money for this thing.
It's all good.
I need to know these secrets.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? The first and the easiest one that everyone should be doing is giving the large language model a character. Why? So apparently these large language models want to be people, which is kind of creepy, but it also means they work best when you give them a character. So
you are a school teacher in a secondary school
with, and this is what I always go with, 1,000 years of experience. I always go with 1,000 years of experience. And why does this work? Because
you're setting parameters.
Exactly. You have to box it in. You have to box in this knowledge base, because remember, it's a large language model. The large means it's trained on a large amount of data. You need to start sculpting the data set that you want it to use. So when you say you are a school teacher, it temporarily forgets everything that's not related to being a school teacher. So it's less likely to give you a generic answer. With 1,000 years of experience, I always go with 1,000 years of experience for anything, whether that's music producer, asset manager, digital marketer. You are X with 1,000 years of experience. So now I have pretty much everything it knows about being a school teacher.
For the last 1,000 years.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And that's already going to give you outputs that are way more specific.
Okay.
So that's like the first thing. This is part of a bigger framework,
Yeah.
prompting framework that I teach a lot of people. But
Okay,
yeah, that's
okay.
like the initial thing. If you're getting general output and you're
Yeah.
not providing your a character,
Yeah.
then you know that the prompter only has themselves to blame.
Okay, interesting. So is it only chat GPT you use for prompts, those type of prompts?
Oh, not at all. I mean, the best one at the time of this recording, I believe, based on my sources, is Claude. Now,
So it's Claude just like chat GPT.
in a sense, yes. So Claude is also a large language model, meaning you type into it, it gives you information back. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic, which was started by a brother and sister duo.
Yeah.
I believe either at least one of them or both of them actually used to work for OpenAI, the company that created ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, for whatever reason, they weren't aligning with the company's visions. They went their own way, did their own thing, and now it's actually bigger. Or
No
actually,
way.
no, it's not. It's actually better than ChatGPT on a number of metrics. However, ChatGPT is still the flagship large language model because
Wow.
they've got obviously the first mover advantage, kind of
Yeah.
like Apple with buttonless phones.
Sometimes you just need to be the first one to do it.
Exactly.
So then with Claude, is it working exactly the same way?
Yep, works in exactly the same way. However, it actually sounds more like a human. So ChatGPT requires a bit of work to get it to sound less like a robot.
Okay.
Whereas
So then with Claude, is it free as well?
Claude is free. Yeah. There's also
Can you give me then CLAUDE?
.ai. Yeah, and that's the URL.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so that one's free as well.
Put that one in my
They also have a paid version, but like you can use it. You can just use the free version, kind of like you can use the free version of ChatGPT. But literally, these sort of transformational technologies are wild,
Okay.
and I love it because I use it creatively. Like I only got into this because I wanted to be a better music producer. I wanted to be a better
Okay.
sound engineer.
So how would you use it for sounding? Oh, when you were talking about the proximity to the microphone
yeah,
and things like that.
and even like little things. Like let's say I've been a sound engineer for, I mean, over 5 years now.
Okay.
It's so good. So, you know, maybe I forget something and I'm like, okay, let me just check this up. Or how can I make this sound more dynamic? Or do you know what I used to do?
Go
I
on.
used to use ChatGPT for hi-hat patterns on like grime and drill productions.
What do you mean?
Like I would say I'm producing half grime, half drill production. Give me a hi-hat pattern, or better still, give me 10 hi-hat patterns.
But how can it give you a hi-hat pattern?
Oh, it will actually show you. It will create a diagram that's really easy to follow. So it will actually give you the bars and the beats, and it will actually show you where you should put the hits. And then you can ask it, okay, I want it to sound really dynamic. What should be the velocity of each hit? Or what you can even do is you can say,
Don't go that deep, do you?
Oh,
It
man.
goes that deep.
we're just at the surface in terms of the depth of my prompting abilities. Like I go so deep into my prompting, it is crazy.
So it gives you. I knew it could do like logo. No, I found out the other, literally about a week ago. It produces pictures now.
Oh yeah, it's been doing that for time. I've got an AI that can do videos as well.
I'm so behind. I'm so behind, man. Oh, I don't use technology like that. AI, come on. So
Yeah,
talk to me.
it's mad. Like I used it for like images. I use it for the logo for my media agency, Polished Pixels. You know, so
Nice.
like there's so much you can do. But back to the music, like I would literally use it for hi-hat patterns in any kind of production. And then what I would say is, okay, critique this hi-hat pattern from the point of view of my audience. And this is the audience. Now, based on that critique, provide me with an improved version. But before you give me the final output, do this 10 times. So what it's gonna do,
Create one, critique it. Create one, critique it.
10 times, and then it's gonna give me the final one. So, because I only want the best of the best when I'm dealing with this. Do you understand?
Oh, this is.
It's wild.
Bruv,
It's
deep.
wild.
When you start going down again a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's wild. Like
didn't
I
know
am
you could use
so
it like that.
passionate about it. It's good
Yeah.
because like I've always been good at speaking, and for me, words are the only escape from like just being up in your mind the whole time.
100%.
And for me, it's just such a great release, and it gets to the point where I have a very technical mindset, and that's always
Okay.
been the case. And even my approach to music has always been
Okay.
technical, and that's why I really like using Logic. You know,
Okay.
because the creators understood that even a creative process is very technical and
Yeah.
is a very logical process. Hence the name of the DAW itself.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, my clients call me JI because they say when I speak, it's like a chat GPT output.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was speaking like this from the day I was born. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Like, my mom's always said, you've always had a very technical mind. My dad as well, always had a very technical mind. You know, your mind is extremely logical to the point where it can be lacking some human emotion, but the logic is always there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's why I just deeply resonated with these technologies, because it's so logical. So what I do is I also ask it to ask me questions. So what I can do now, let's say I've got an idea, right?
Okay.
I'll just type in 15 words based off the idea or the concept. Yeah. Just type it in, and I'll just say, I'm currently brainstorming. Here's some words. Ask me 10 questions so I can better structure the idea I have. It's going to ask me 10 questions. Boom. Okay, I'm going to answer these questions. Boom, boom, boom. And then it's going to give me a more clearer, succinct conception in my mind that I can read, and I can be like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
More prompts. And then you know, going back and forth.
Exactly, and then I create images that are inspired by that paragraph, and then it gets wild, man. It gets wild.
Let me sit with this chat GPT, boy.
Bro, it's crazy. Friends, I'm trying to teach it to like regular people as well. So I recently started like a school community called Everyday AI with JI, and now I'm just trying to like educate regular people, because there's still people in the world who think the internet is witchcraft. Do you know what I mean? And
it could be.
It's true.
No.
You know what I mean?
I see, yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother, I think that's a whole nother interesting conversation, that concept of the spiritual aspect of technology. Okay. But people will get left behind. It's like people are making jokes about, you know, AI taking your jobs. Yeah. The jobs are already gone. Like, I know large language models and conversational workflow platforms that can do like automated outreach for sales. Like I'm doing this for a client right now. Yeah. I just create like a tree diagram, right? Saying, okay, when you call the client, say this, say that. If they respond like this, say that. No, and I create an entire, and it's so quick. The pauses aren't that long. It sounds very natural. Bro, that's like an entire sales team gone. Universal basic income is en route. Do you know what I mean? Because AI will take a lot of jobs. There'll be some still there, but a lot of jobs are going to go.
So when we were talking last time, you said you were also teaching people about management, time management, and how to organize and all of this. Now, is this something that you utilize AI doing, or is that just what you do separately outside AI?
That's something, I mean, I think they're very much intertwined. I was doing it before I sort of discovered AI was a thing. In fact, I'm proud to say I've like meticulously itinerarized pretty much every single thing I've done over the last 5 years down to the hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's monumental.
Wow.
I see it as...
Is it something that you've always done? Have you always been a person who was always been good with their time, structuring their time and their hours? This is what I do, like that?
I don't think...
Or was it a thing where you made a conscious decision like, I need to get better at this, so I'm going to start actively making an effort to start structuring my time and, utilizing it like that?
Do you know what's interesting? Like, I don't think I've always been like that. I think because my mind is sort of constantly expanding in multiple directions at the same time, I needed some structure. Because I feel like in the creative process or in the ideation process or whenever you're trying to brainstorm anything, there are two sort of states of mind. There's neurodivergence, where you go and find a new idea based off previous ideas, and you're trying to reach for a new idea, like something new and novel. And then there's neuroconvergence, when you are like, okay, I've got onto this idea, now I need to hold on tight to this idea, and then just develop this idea some more, hone in on it, go in deeper.
Neuroconvergence.
Yeah, so when you're converging on an idea you've got, and you got that idea because you initially diverged. That's how I sort of think about it. So I realized, I need to be more convergent, I guess, in terms of how I structure my time and the ideas that I have. So I can actually accomplish more instead of just having all these ideas and not, necessarily putting things into action. So that's when I started organizing things. So big up to Justin, an amazing drummer, who was the first person who showed me like a schedule. Now, like a serious schedule. Like this guy, he was family man, he had wife and kids, and he was also a touring drummer for like good big bands. And I was like, damn, your time is like so valuable. You've got so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then when he showed me how he structured his time, I was like, oh my God. This guy lived just like on the outskirts of London.
Okay.
And I remember I went to visit him and I was like, damn, you are so militant with your time. Like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. Like, and yeah, I think this is why I'm so passionate about this technology and also being organized, is because life is made up of time when you strip it down to its foundations. So
time is our biggest commodity.
Exactly. So the way I saw it is, okay, if I can save time or be more resourceful or intentional with my time, then that means I can save my own life and be more intentional and resourceful with my own life. And who doesn't want to save their own life by saving their own time? So this is how I break it down. Whenever I save time, I save life.
Brother, see, I'm a type of person where, if I'm just being honest, I can be, okay, basically, there's room for improvement to become more intentional with time and more organized. Because I think as a creative spirit, I'm just a bit airy-fairy sometimes. So if I was a brand new client and I sat with you and I said, Mr. Joe Johnson, I want to become more intentional with time. I want to organize my time better. I want to get more structure with my life. How would you go about doing that? Is it something you utilize AI with, or would you just?
Absolutely. I think you can use AI for pretty much the start of everything. AI is great from developing something from 0% to 1%. That's what it's exceptional at.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you can use it for everything in that sort of sense at the very beginning. And what I would say is, it all starts off with when you wake up. So that's the first thing you'd have to decide. And you don't necessarily have to be waking up at the same time each day, but you need to have an ideal day structure. And that's where, okay, on a regular day, unless I did something the night before, I'm doing something different that day, I'm waking up at this time. But then I had to go one step further. And I'm like, okay, what time am I going to wake up? Well, that depends on how long I'm going to sleep. So really, it's not actually about what time I'm going to wake up. It's about what time am I going to go to bed. And that's where it all starts. Okay. That's where it actually starts, because your day starts the night before.
Hey, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Oh, Jesus. Your day starts the night.
Yeah, so it's that when I clocked that, then I was like, well, okay, I need to know when I'm going to bed.
You know, when you think about it like that, that makes a lot of sense, though.
Because you got to get your sleep, otherwise you're going to be like delirious.
Yeah,
so like, okay, that's the priority. What time am I going to bed? Is it going to be 9, 10, 11, 12? What time do I want to wake up? You know what I mean? I don't know what they say, 6 to 8 hours or whatever. And then when you wake up, what's the first thing you do? First thing I do, 100 push-ups.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Bang 100.
Bang it out, just like,
straight 100.
Without thinking. Yeah, I just, boom.
From beginning to end. No rest in the beginning.
I'll say half the time, I'm just like, yeah, the whole way. And the other half, I'm like,
I'll put you on the spot, you know, bro. I'll put you on the spot.
Listen, we're still rolling.
It's good. Okay, cool. I believe you. Oh, you can bang out 100 like that, yeah?
Come on. That's always ready.
Hey! Hey!
I'll fully do it.
But,
like, just because I think once you start moving, then your brain is like, okay, I'm not tired anymore.
Okay.
I'm like in fight mode, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm like, before I even think about it, I'm just
before
like,
you wake up,
just do it there. And before I know
it.
Exactly, before I know it, okay, I've done 20, 30, 40, 50, boom, okay, 100, smashed out. What next? All right, let me get some water, boom.
Okay.
Crack on with the day.
And that's something that you have, so every day, whatever time you wake up, the 100 push-ups, that's how I start my day.
Yeah, gotta be done. Just gotta be done. Because I can't hit gym every day. Okay. But I choose not to. But it's like, okay, that baseline, that's gonna keep me at a particular level of physique.
Okay. Interesting. I'm taking mental notes. I'm taking mental notes.
It's all good. Do you know what?
That's actually dope.
Yeah, I think we can cut that one there.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate you, man.
No, real talk. Off camera, we're gonna talk.
100%.
Because there's certain things that I know. I've just taken some time out, and I know, again, it's all about improvement. It's all about knowing self and becoming more self-aware and doing things better and making better choices. And literally, what you just said about your night starts the day before.
Yep, that's really it. I can't believe that was half an hour. I felt like it just went by. Yeah, crazy.
Half an hour.
Can't wait to upload this.
Oh.